Okay, first off, it's Friday night. Why are you sitting at home listening to me? Why aren't you out at the movies or dancing or drinking or at dinner or doing something? It's not that I don't appreciate it. I just don't understand.
The Top, broadcasting live to at least 3 people on Spreaker.com. Thank you for calling the Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder Hotline. If you have ADHD, please press 1. So you do have ADHD. Is this correct? Please press 1. Now that we know it is only necessary to make your selection. It has been established you do have ADHD. Please. Okay, dude, seriously, if you want help, you're going to have to stop playing with the keypad. Oh, look, it's a shiny ball with bells on it. Thank you for calling the Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder Hotline.
Mr. Pop.
Dorks of the world, unite. No, okay, listen closely. It's not WOBA, it's WABA.
Mr.
This is the Chris Top Program, broadcasting worldwide to at least 3 people.
And I am the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee, with an ocean view. So, I'm guessing you're back for more. I'd like to welcome the lovely, vivacious Kiss to the chat. We've also got Judge Holly Stalin in the chat, and I think it's important that you fear the judge. Now, earlier we started off telling stories, and I went a totally different direction than I was supposed to go in my show. And you probably wouldn't have known that had I not said anything, and I can do what I want because it's my show. So I decided to do another show just because, well, I can, and because I figured, well, I want to go ahead and do my original show. Now, I want you to sit back, and it's okay if you don't chat. It's perfectly fine, because I want you to sit back and I want you to use your imagination on this show, because one of the reasons radio is so beautiful, it's because if you have a good host, then he or she is able to paint a beautiful picture in your mind. And I believe that's the advantage radio has over any other type of media. Because when you go see Man of Steel, even though it may be a good movie, they do all the work for you. But it would be an interesting thing if you went to see Man of Steel and you just closed your eyes through the whole movie. I know you wouldn't pay the outrageous movie prices to go see Man of Steel and keep your eyes closed through the whole movie. But it would be an interesting experiment, wouldn't it? To see what your imagination came up with as compared to what the producers or what the director came up with. I'd like to welcome my good buddy Kevin Logan back. Also my other good buddy Guy Shea from Nightmare Media. And we have Chaz back in the chat. And real quick, guys, spread that Spreaker love. Type the word show into the chat. Make sure you give each other a follow. Listen to the shows. If you don't like them, you can unfollow them. But if you do like them, then congratulations. You found something else that you enjoy. Now, I'm going to explain something to you. And I'm going to throw this term out. And this is a term that stuck with me for several years. And I use it. I don't really talk about it that much in conversation. But it's the name that I've given this. So, what is a first kiss moment to you? Now, this could be an actual first kiss, and that's kind of what it's based on. A first good kiss. Now, there's been those awkward kisses, like the one I had in the 9th grade with Carol at her front door. I went to kiss her, and she said, okay, I'm going to kiss you, but just don't stick your tongue in my mouth because I don't French. Now, not that kiss, but the good first kiss. The one that made you feel all giddy inside. The one that made you feel like it was like the magic of Christmas morning and the excitement of the 4th of July all rolled into one thing. Now, it doesn't have to be a first kiss. It could be maybe driving a fast car. It could be cooking a meal. It could be taking dance lessons with someone that you love. It could be the birth of your child. These are all first kiss moments. They give you that feeling that maybe you're floating, that maybe you were meant for better things. I did. I said giddy like a schoolgirl. I can't say her last name, Kevin. I can't say her last name. I don't think you knew her. I was in 9th grade, and I think she was in 8th grade, and my brother took us on a double date. And I was going to kiss the girl, and then I ended up just kissing her on the cheek and then going home. But I didn't expect anything anyway, for crying out loud. My brother was sitting in the parking lot, or in her driveway, waiting for me to come out. So, anyway, the first kiss moments. How many of those have you had in your life? How many of those do you want to have in your life? I mean, I can think of a handful, and that's why I brought up that snapshot question. That's why I want to trigger some of these memories in your mind, because I'm going to share one with you. And I don't think I've ever shared this on the air. So this is a big step for me. And hello, Lisa. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming by. She says, I'm so sorry I've been gone. Life got busy, and Chris was always doing shows when I was doing something or sleeping. Well, it's good to have you here today, Lisa. It really is. Guy says, hello, Kiss and all. Kicked back listening to Chris tonight. I would post show, but I don't think nice people should go to mine. You guys give Guy a follow. He's been very supportive. So if you don't follow anybody else in the chat, make sure you give Guy a follow. Now, and I ask other questions on the Facebook page. I want you to think about maybe friends that you've lost contact with. That these were friends that you felt like were your brothers or your sisters, and you said to yourselves many times, and you didn't have to be high or drunk to say these things. You know, you meant it at the time. We are never going to lose. We are never going to stop talking, because we are so close. We're brothers. We're sisters. But then again, they fade away. And I have a name for these situations in your life where you come across someone that you don't want to lose, or you don't want to ever go away, or maybe you find a place that you love to go to. It could be a favorite restaurant. It could be just a place outside that you enjoy. And you think to yourself, I am never, ever going to stop coming here. I'm never going to stop eating at this restaurant. And I have a name for all these things that I use. So we're talking about the first kiss moments, and then we're talking about another moment. And here's the story. I don't remember how exactly how old I was. I was somewhere between 8, 10. I could have been 12. I don't know. I grew up on a farm. We had about 120 acres. And don't get the wrong idea, because we weren't rich. We were actually, we just barely got by. My father had passed away when I was 8 years old. So it was mainly me and my mother. My sister was out of the picture. My brother was 16 years older than me. So, I mean, I was almost like an only child. But I had such a wonderful childhood. I did, because if you think about it, I had all this space to explore every day. And my mom didn't have to worry about someone abducting me, or someone kidnapping me, or me disappearing, because times were different back then. I remember waking up just as the sun was coming up. And I remember putting my pants on. I didn't have to go to the bathroom inside. I could go outside because I'm a dude. So I would get up and I would throw my pants on, my shirt, my shoes. I would run out that door as fast as I could. As I was running, I would get halfway down the sidewalk before I was so fast, because I'd get halfway down the sidewalk, and then I would hear the screen door slam. And I had the whole day. I didn't have to be back on most nights or most days until dark or until it was dinner time. And nobody worried about me. It was fine. So I had these cliffs I could explore. And had my mom known half of the things I was doing, she would have had a panic attack, I'm sure. And maybe she did know, because she told me stories too, and how when she was little they would swim across these creeks on grapevines and things like that. So of course I did that. I tried that too. I had this little hobby where I would make these model ships. They were battleships. I remember I had the USS New Jersey that I'd built. And I would take my USS New Jersey, and I hope I got that right. I hope that's really a ship, but that's how I remember it. So I would take it down to the river bottom, and I would float it down the streams, and I would run and catch it. And I would spend all day just exploring. I could be hunting for arrowheads. I could walk down to the Cumberland River, and I could throw rocks in the river, and I could scream at the barges as they would go by. I mean, it was almost like a contemporary Tom Sawyer kind of life that I had. And some of the most beautiful memories, some of the most heartwarming memories I have are from this time period in my life. I lived there from the time I was born until the time I was 18. So this one particular day is probably one of the best memories that I have. Spent the whole day just playing, doing boy stuff, getting dirty, and time, it tends to slip away from you. You know how when you were little, just the summer, you could blink and it was over with, and then the next thing you know, you're back in school, and you're already just counting the days down until next summer. Well, that's kind of what happened, I guess. That particular day just flew by, and before I realized it, it was time for me to go back home, because the sun was starting to go down, and that's really the only rule I had, was be home before it's dark, eat something, take a shower, go to bed. Well, I piddle around a little longer, and before I know it, it's dark outside. Well, I'm a very young boy, so I guess I start to panic a little bit. I'm very familiar with the land and everything around me, but somehow, for one reason or another, I got lost. I don't know if I went off onto a neighbor's property or what I did, but I was very turned around, and I panicked. I didn't exactly know what to do, but I panicked. And the more I panicked, it seemed like the more lost I became. So I aimlessly wandered around until I came upon this clearing in the woods. And it looked like some men had probably been there earlier on in the week, and they had actually cut down a bunch of trees. And it was right in the middle of the woods, and it was I remember it as being an oval-shaped clearing. And in the middle of the clearing, there was this tree stump. And I thought, well, that looks like a good place to rest. So I go over to the tree stump. I have a seat, and I just sit there. I cried. I panicked. I was upset. I was worried because I knew that if I ever made it home again, that I'm sure I was going to be in trouble. I'm sure I was going to get a spanking, because back then you did get spankings, and it was okay. Nobody went to jail over it. We were also able to ride in the backs of trucks, and of course you don't have seatbelts in the backs of trucks, so that was okay too. You could drive all through town sitting on the edge of a truck on the back, and nobody pulled you over. I don't recall anybody ever falling off the back of a truck bed. Or at least I didn't. And well, I did a couple times when the truck bed was still, or my friend pushed me off the side or something like that. That happened a lot. I played Tarzan so much in the woods. I just thought of that. And I played the Lone Ranger a lot in the woods, too. And I went through so many Tonto dolls, because I don't know why, but I felt like Tonto had to be up in the trees, because he was an Indian. So I would throw him up in the trees, and then I would just get hacked off because he would get stuck in the trees. I could probably take you back, because I remember the trees that he got stuck in. I could probably take you back where I grew up, and we could probably find these old Tonto dolls. Now, that could be a treasure on eBay, so that's food for thought if you ever want to go look. Now, back to the story. But let me go back to the chat first. We'll take a little time out, and I'll come back and I'll finish the story. Let's see. Holly says, my story's a long one. That's what she said. So I really haven't missed anything. And Kevin's talking about rubbing something raw, and I'm not gonna dig too deeply into that, because there's some things I just don't want to know. And Lisa is feeling compassion for me. She says, "Poor little Chris," and that's, I'm not really looking for compassion, but thank you. I do appreciate that. Is Kevin? I think Kevin's drunk. And Chaz says the USS New Jersey is real. Okay, so okay, that's more proof that this really happened. And I remember that little ship. I bought the model, and it took me several days to get that put together. It wasn't one of those click together things. It was actually one of those, okay, I've got to glue this together, it's got to dry, I've got to paint it, I've got to put the decals on. So, a lot of hard work actually went into putting that together. Anyway, let me take a quick little break, because Scooter brought up Mountain Dew, and when I come back, I will finish the story. I'll tell you about how the aliens swooped down to the trailer park, and they beamed me up, and they probed me, and I don't want to remember. I don't want to remember these things.
Snow White lived with 7 men. Mario got high off of mushrooms. Sleeping Beauty slept around. And our parents wonder why we act the way we do. Holly Stallin's words cut like a double-edged sword. On the Edge with Holly Stallin, the fastest 30 minutes on Spreaker.com.
Take it from the top.
Mr. Pop. Dorks of the world, unite. No, okay, listen closely. It's not Woba, it's Waba.
Take it from the top.
Mr. Pop.
And I am the one and only Chris Top from the Chris Top program, taking that milk money back 1 nickel at a time. Yeah, so I don't even know where I'm at now on people that are following me. Last I checked, I was up to 40, so I need 100 followers before I can apply to iHeartRadio again. So if you haven't followed me yet, please do that. Check me out on Facebook. You can tweet with me. You can tumble with me. You can stumble with me. I know there's way too much. If you don't do anything, follow me on Spreaker and follow me on Facebook. Those are the main two that I'm looking for, because if you're with me on Facebook, then you can communicate with me pretty much any time of the day. Now, back to the story. It's a typical day for me, and I think when you're young like that, you take these days for granted. As the summer winds down, as a child, you tend to get a little depressed, because it's almost time for school to start again. I wasn't the kind of kid that wanted to go back to school. I didn't enjoy school. I was a dork, for crying out loud. I felt better when I was at home exploring or hanging out with my friends or riding my bicycle, things like that in the summertime. It was nice. And I miss these days. And I think it's okay to miss these days, and I think it's okay to reminisce about these moments. So, especially if you have the memories that I have. So, I'm sitting there on this stump, and I'm terrified. I'm mortified. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm ever going to make it home again. If I do make it home, I don't know if I want to go inside, because I know what's in store for me. I'm going to be in so much trouble. So I'm sitting there and I'm bawling my eyes out. The tears are coming off my face. They're falling into my lap, and they're all dirty because I've been playing in the dirt all day long. I look up, And Scooter says he would follow me to the ends of the earth. That is a bromance. You ever cried and you look up into the sunlight, and it almost seems like it's magnified, and it seems like there's maybe a mist around what you're looking at? Now, I want everybody to stop typing for a minute. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to try to picture what I saw on my on that night. So I look up, and there's tears in my eyes, and I see out in the distance, in the woods, because remember, I'm surrounded by woods, but I'm in this clearing. I look out into the woods, and I see a firefly, which is not something that's too uncommon in these parts. And I'm sure most of you know what a firefly is, or a lightning bug. So I see a firefly in the woods, and of course it catches my attention. And it of course it was magnified because I'm looking at it through my tears. And then I see another one. And I see another one. And that's usually the extent of it. You see a few here and there. You can kind of follow them. It's almost like you're connecting the dots in the sky. And I've got this panoramic view, so I turn around and I see them in the woods, just here and there. But then something almost magical happens. I see 10 light up over here. I see 20 light up over here. I look behind me, I see another 30 light up. And pretty soon, the woods are just, they're filled with all this light. It's almost like I was dreaming, though the woods were lit up. And that's not the most amazing thing, but what happened was, they started to eventually come out of the woods into the clearing. And they were surrounding me. They lit up the night. I mean, there was a full moon, so I could see things. But it felt like the middle of a summer day. My tears were gone. I totally forgot that I was afraid. There was this yellow glow, this light that lit everything up for me. It took away my fears. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't worried about getting in trouble. I was calm. And this is the most beautiful memory that I have. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't even explain it. I just close your eyes and imagine all these little points of light just surrounding you, just engulfing you, just taking you away from a moment and placing you in another moment. A better moment, a more calm moment. So I sat there all night, and I watched these fireflies in amazement. And you're not going to hear me say this very often, but it was an awesome experience. Now, eventually the sun came up. I wasn't afraid. I easily found my way home. I walked into my house. I took my punishment like a man. Of course, I was grounded for life. But I'll tell you, that night, I snuck out of the house because I wanted to see the fireflies again. I went back to the same spot. I stood on the same stump. I looked out into the woods and I noticed one here, one over there. But that was it. It was just another typical night looking out into the woods and seeing fireflies here and there. So a very discouraged young boy went home that night. I went back again the third night, the fourth night, the fifth night. Eventually, it got later in the year, and I didn't see them at all. But they left me with that one memory that I will never, ever forget. What is your Firefly story? What's happened to you in your life that sticks out in your mind? What's happened in your life that was truly an awesome moment in time that you'll never forget? I don't want my moment as a broadcaster, as, well, my hobby, because that's what it is. I don't want it to be like the Fireflies. I don't want it to be a memory. Surely you guys know by now that this is something that I have to do. This is something that I do love doing. I'd love to know your Firefly stories. So if you want to post those on the Facebook page, by all means, please do it. And I'll probably, I'll share them on the show. I mean, if you want me to. I know a lot of this stuff can be very personal, but if you want to peel back some layers and sort of put yourself out there a little bit, please share the stories, because I love stuff like that. I really do. And goes for a lot of you guys in the chat too. You know, you guys have been listening to me for a long time. A lot of you have. I hope that none of you ever become the Fireflies, because it's nice having you around. It's nice when I log on to Spreaker and I decide to do a broadcast and I decide to be the one and only Chris Top. It's nice to see you here. It's nice to see you happy to be here, happy to be here and hang out with me. And I'm talking to you, Scooter. I'm talking to Holly. I'm talking to Kiss. I'm talking to Bryn. Jen's not here, but I'm talking to her as well. I'm talking to each and every one of you there in the chat. And Lisa, I'm talking to you. I don't want you guys to be Fireflies. I want you to keep listening. I want you to always be around. Because you are important to me. And a lot of DJs or air personalities will get on, they'll do their shows, and they'll thank people. I don't know if they mean it or not. I do. So when I tell you I don't take you for granted, I mean that. I've said this before. If I was doing a broadcast and nobody listened, I'd be talking to myself. That'd kind of make me crazy, wouldn't it? So I like it when you guys show up. I don't broadcast just to hear my own voice. Even though I like my own voice quite a bit. I'm pretty conceited, but still I do it just because I love doing it. I love spending time with you. Chaz says that sounds like the coolest thing that could have ever happened, Chris. And I'm sure that things like that have happened to you, Chaz, and I want to know, what are they? Post those on my Facebook page. I've been peeling back my layers all week. Now it's your guys' turn. Holly says, that story's legit, had an impact on me, Chris Top. Thank you for telling it. And I hope you guys could visualize it. I hope, someone could produce the movie and someone could light up the sky with CGI fireflies and make it beautiful. But whatever you envisioned in your mind, is probably closer to what really happened. Now, I do not, nor will I ever take any of you for granted, because there are a million other things you could be doing, but you chose to hang out with me, and that makes me feel pretty damn special. It really does. So until I broadcast again, please remember this. Life is good, and I'm gone.
You have been exposed to the Chris Top program. Tune in next,
Yeah, I don't have a schedule.
right.